time now for everybody's favorite guessing game, What's My Line? Brought to you by Helene Curtis, makers of Starfette, Suave, and Endon Dandruff Treatment Shampoo. Now, let's all play What's My Line?
And now let's meet our award-winning What's My Line panel. First, the delightful star of stage and television, Miss Arlene Francis.
And now a distinguished actor who has given one of the most beautiful performances this year in a play called The Hidden River, Mr. Robert Preston.
It's my pleasure to introduce New York's most glamorous member of the Fourth Estate, Miss Dorothy Kilgallen.
And I would like to introduce our panelist on my left, the publisher of the bestseller, the FBI story, Bennett, Cerf.
And now our panel moderator, full of St. Patrick's Day spirits, the indefatigable John Charles Daly.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to What's My Line. I'm just going to let that spirits remark lie right where it sits, or lies, or something. And we've got some variations on our usual theme tonight that will please the panel very much, because now they can put their blindfolds on. I thought you'd like that, panel. And we'll also have a famous mystery guest before the panel a little bit later in the show. We'll meet our first challenger in just a minute.
Stay tuned.
Now let us meet our first contestant. The blindfolds are all in place, panel?
Yes, sir.
Yes, good. Will you come in and sign in, please? I would like to ask you, first of all, if you're familiar with our scoring system, are you?
I am.
Good. In that event, let's let everybody at home and those who are here with us in the theater, except my friends on the panel, know exactly what your line is. All right, panel, needless to say, you are blindfolded because there is an area of identification involving either appearance, dress, handwriting, location, all sorts of things that we normally use as sort of little helps and aids to you. We're not going to give you this trip, but we will let you have one bit of help. Our guest is salaried, and let's begin the general questioning with Bennett, Cerf.
Does your job as a salary job come from a non-profit making organization?
Yes.
Is the non-profit making organization something to do with government?
No.
1 down and 9 to go, Miss Francis.
Is the non-profit making organization anything to do with the church?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you an important member of any particular religion?
Not so much.
Well, now, I must now, I think, correct that answer and say that our guest is indeed an important member of one faith.
Well, I'm going to take your word for the truth, John.
Yes.
Have you written any books?
Yes, ma'am.
Have you a column in any newspaper?
Yes, ma'am.
Does one call you doctor?
If they want to be real respectful.
Well, that's what I want to be.
And they would want to be, Miss Arlene.
Are you by any chance... oh, dear, there are two I'd like to ask about.
Go ahead.
Are you Dr. Norman Vincent Peale?
Yes.
Are you?
I must say, Congratulations, Arlene. That was magnificently done. Bennett, you unlocked the door, of course, with that question about...
Expecting the mayor of Dublin tonight.
Yeah.
I tried to talk with the brogue, but I gave it up.
And, of course, actually, I suppose the question about the books was a critical one, too, because we all know that Dr. Peale has written.
And you didn't publish it, Bennett.
No, this is a remarkable thing about Dr. Peale's book. If memory serves me right, I've read recently you have another book.
That is right,
coming
John.
out very soon.
That is right.
Stay Alive All Your Life, isn't it?
Stay alive all your life, yes, sir.
It's about to be published, isn't
Yes,
it?
tomorrow, as a matter of fact.
Tomorrow's publication day. Well, wonderful, sir. Well, I, with a great many others, have had great benefit from your earlier books and look forward to this new one. Yes,
Well, that's a
Dorothy.
real compliment.
I was just going to say that the last time I saw Dr. Peale, we were on a heavenly mountaintop in Switzerland, and he looks as though he's been there all the time.
We had a good time, didn't we?
Wonderful.
Yeah. Dr. Peale, you should give your publisher a little publicity. Who is the publisher of your new book?
Now, that I call real generous. Prentice Hall Incorporated.
There we are. And Bennett has done his good deed for the next
That's
300
really
years.
a Christian spirit.
He really turned the other cheek, didn't he?
He surely did.
Well, Dr. Peale, thank you very much for being our guest. I'm sorry we didn't give them more trouble. We'd hoped you'd be out here with me much longer
Well,
than
I
that.
wish I had been.
Nice to have had you with us,
Thank you,
Doctor.
John.
Thank you.
Dr. Peale's Question and Answer Department appears in each issue of Look magazine.
Well, I'm impressed, panel, but maybe you can be impressed now by what we're going to do. Will our next challenger please come in and sign in? Tony? Tony West, is that right? And now we all know why Horace Greeley said, "Go west, young man." Go west. Is it Miss or Mrs.?
Miss.
Miss West. Well, golly day. Miss West, here's the panel. Would you just wave to them and come over here and sit down with me?
Looks like John's got the Tony.
Bennett, Cerf, really. Miss West, do you know how we keep score?
Yes, sir.
Fine, then let's let everybody at home and our friends here in the theater, again, except our panel, know exactly what your line is. All right. Panel, Miss West is salaried, and let's begin the general questioning with Miss Dorothy Kilgallen.
Oh, Miss West, may I assume that you are not Marilyn Monroe's understudy?
Yes, you may.
Do you work for a profit-making organization?
Yes, I do.
Do you ever appear before quite a few people at a time?
Yes.
Would you consider yourself a performer?
No.
No, now, to be perfectly fair, Dorothy, I must admit now, at this juncture, that while Miss West has, on occasion, performed, this is not the term of reference with which we are concerning ourselves tonight.
I mean, you're
That
afraid
is
of
not her-
confusing me, John?
I beg your pardon, dear?
You're afraid of confusing me if you give me a
Yes,
yes.
I mean, I don't want you to misunderstand. She has, on occasion, performed as... But she is not a performer in her basic occupation. That's 1 down and 9 to go, Mr. Cerf.
Miss Tony, then it's correct to assume that you are not appearing as somebody connected with any kind of show, television, circus, or any form of amusement of that sort. Is that correct?
Correct, yes.
Is there a product connected with what you do?
No.
That's 2 down and 8 to go, Miss Francis.
Do people come to you when you're working?
Yes, they do.
They'd be fools not to. Would they be both men and women?
Yes.
Do they feel better as a result of your services?
Sometimes.
Well, now, I do think here, again, if I may be allowed to intrude myself, I don't think we can say specifically, Miss Arlene, that they feel better as a result of the
I
services.
can't understand it.
There is certainly some benefit derived, but I don't think we could put it in the category
All
of
right, John, you can
improving
give me a no.
well-being
Okay.
or health. That's 3 down and 7 to go. Mr. Preston.
Miss West, do you suppose that it would be too late for me to avail myself of your services?
Never.
No, it would not be at all.
I actually meant, John, so that you should get no wrong ideas, that being very far-fetched. I thought that she was a school teacher of some sorts, and I wondered if I would be going back into some primary form of education. May I ask if you are employed in the field of education, Miss West?
You mean formal education? Just so that we don't...
I didn't say formal education.
You didn't say formal education?
Does she teach something?
Well, I would think if Miss West would agree that considering education very broadly, we would have to admit that she has some identification with an area of instruction. Would you say that, Laura?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Thank you, Miss West.
It is a form of instruction.
Yes.
Would I come to you for these services?
Yes, you would.
And would you consider your place of business in the form of an office?
No, sir.
That makes it 4 down and 6 to go, Miss Kilgallen.
Do you move about when you do what you do?
Yes.
Not going to catch a girl like that standing still, Dorothy.
Could you tell, if there were an orchestra playing, could you tell the difference between a cha-cha-cha and a merengue? Concerning this?
Oh, we'll have to have a conference. I've been waiting for so long.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh. Could you teach Bob the difference between a cha-cha-cha and a merengue or a
I
tango?
certainly could.
Are you a dancing teacher?
No.
I've got it. Go, Mr. Cerf.
Miss West, we did ascertain that you worked for a profit-making organization, did we not?
No.
The question
Have
has...
we,
Yes.
I thought we
Yes.
did
Yes,
ask that.
that's
Yes,
right.
we did.
Yes,
And we got we got a yes, too.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's right.
Would what you teach have anything whatever to do with transportation of any sort?
No, sir.
No.
Would you ever mind?
Would you be taught how to drive an automobile?
6 down and 4 to go, Miss Francis.
Do you touch these people at all when you're teaching them?
Yes.
Do you, is it difficult what they have to learn?
In some cases.
The backward pupils.
Yes, I would say it would depend on what degree of facility to this particular kind of instruction you bring when you go to see Miss West. Huh?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Is it a studio that you work in, a large area, like a gymnasium, that sort of a big place?
Yes.
Would it be gymnastic in any way, your instruction?
I think we would have to admit
Yes.
there's a relationship there, yes.
Uh-huh. But it is not as exhausting as jiu-jitsu or judo.
No.
You say...
Well,
you say...
It is as exhausting as jiu-jitsu. Judo.
Yoo-hoo! Bells and whistles, you said that, not. That negative, that makes it,
Oh, it's not?
You said it is not as exhausting, and we say, yes, it is.
No, but you asked me for a correction, like... Now,
Can't
would
do
you
that,
just
Miss-
try to throw me just because she can?
That's right. Actually, I don't think... I'll tell you what, Miss Arlene.
No, it's all right, John. No, I want Bob
I'll
to say
stand it on end, and you and Robert work it together now. Go on.
Go ahead, Robert.
Miss West, there's special training required for what you teach.
Yes.
Is this something that we try to teach our armed forces?
Oh, yes.
Yes, that's right. Dorothy, I give it to you.
So, courtesy of the smart members of the panel, are you a judo instructor?
Yes! Actually, Bob, to the point of your question, Miss West works for Chris Freeland, who, if memory serves him right, is the man who trained most of our armed
Yes.
forces. The Marine Corps, for instance. He was an instructor in judo for the Marine Corps.
Yes.
Well, Miss West...
You're going to be...
I guess,
Re-enlist.
Miss West, would
Yes.
you show us one of your tricks with Mr. Daly?
Thank you, Miss West. It's very nice to see you, and it's good of you to come to visit us on What's My Line, ma'am.
I'd rather not if you don't.
Thanks a lot. It's enjoyed having you with us. We'll meet tonight's mystery guest in just... We come to the special feature of our program, the appearance of our mystery celebrity, for which I have to ask my friends on the panel once again to blindfold themselves Actually, it's something they love doing anyway. Panel, are you all blindfolded?
Yes, we're
Good. Will our
trying.
mystery challenger come in and sign in, please? All right, panel, as you know, in the case of our mystery challenger, we go to a different form of questioning. You ask one question at a time, in turn, moving clockwise. And let's begin it with Arlene Francis.
Are you a star in one of the entertainment mediums?
Are you a star in one of the entertainment media?
Yes.
Mr. Preston.
Are you more a star of motion pictures than the other media?
I don't know.
It would be a dish.
Could you find out before the
Gee, that spring came early this year, didn't it? Actually, Robert, this would be a difficult question to answer. I would say that our guest is extremely prominent in more than one medium, so that you may take it from there if you don't mind. Miss Kilgallen.
Do you have anything to do with music?
Sometimes.
Mr. Cerf.
Would you say that your personality was more like our second contestant tonight than our first one?
Quite often.
Quite often. Almost all the time. Miss Francis?
Are you appearing at the present time in a Broadway production?
Yes.
Mr. Preston?
Is it a musical production?
Sometimes.
The voice doesn't give out.
Oh,
Yes, I think it is, Robert.
Gee.
Miss Kilgallen?
I think there's only one person who does such a wonderful imitation of those glamour girls, or them glamour girls, like Marilyn Monroe. Are you a beautiful blonde who wears an abbreviated costume in a current musical?
No.
No? Oh, it's really a fellow, I know.
Mr. Cerf, that's one out of 9 to go.
Where you hang around in the theater, do bells ring a great deal?
Yes! All right, Bennett, you finish off.
I think it's Judy Holliday.
And you're right. And just so that the folks who've not been to New York recently won't be puzzled, Miss Holliday's musical hit is Bells A Ringing. That's what Bennett was making reference to. And a very good one it is, too.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah.
You always guess me.
Well, Miss
John,
Judy-
my play closed last night just so I can go see Miss Holliday.
Oh, really now?
May I ask, isn't Judy about to be seen in a picture soon, too? Isn't the picture about to be released?
It was already released.
When?
Full life.
3-4 weeks
Full of
ago.
life.
Oh, well, you
a
see,
most-
they locked me up in the studios all day. I didn't know.
You say a studio, dear?
Yes,
Oh.
studio.
Oh, you locked you up in a studio. Yes. Actually, the picture's very aptly named with Miss Holliday in it, Full of Life. That's
Right.
the way it should be named.
Yes.
We were having a lot of fun. I wish that Bennett hadn't gotten it. Because I love that. I can't do it.
It could have gone on for a long time.
That's wonderful. Miss Judy, thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
coming to see us. Nice to have had you on What's My Line. Very difficult panel. I don't know whether it's that they've had their molasses and sulfur or what it is, but they're too good tonight. Let's see if we can't puzzle you now. Will our next challenger come in and sign in, please? Right there. Mike? Finningham. Is that right? Mike Finningham? Mr. Finningham, where are you from?
Chicago, Illinois.
Chicago, Illinois. Well, it's nice to have you here. I got a wonderful St. Patrick's Day card from Mayor Daley with a shamrock to wear it. I should have it on. Don't have it on tonight.
Fine man.
That he is. Mr. Finningham, I would like you to meet the panel. Miss Francis, Mr. Preston, Miss Kilgallen, Mr. Cerf. Very fine representative, high-type citizens, but you come on over here and sit down with me. And let's see if we can't unseat their reason for a moment, eh? You know how we keep score?
Yes, sir.
All right, then let's let everybody about here and there know exactly what your line is. All right. Colonel, Mr. Finningham is salaried, and let's begin the general questioning with Bob Preston.
Mr. Finningham, do you deal in services?
Yes, sir.
Do you work for a profit-making organization?
Yes, sir.
Do you deal with both men and women?
Yes, sir.
I knew you would. Do these people come to you to avail themselves of your service?
Yes.
Sometimes, to be fair.
Sometimes you go to them?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Do you touch them in your services?
No, I don't think that's necessary. 1 down and 9 to go, Miss Kilgallen.
Mr. Finningham, did you have any part in the celebration in honor of the great saint whose day we celebrated yesterday and today?
No, I mean, specifically...
Didn't even see the parade?
Well, he saw the parade, but he had no specific part in arranging or executing the plans for the parade as it was held here in New York or with any parade that was held in Chicago or the environs of any other American city on the North Continent. Mr. Cerf, 2 down and 8 to go.
Mr. Finningham, for the service that you perform, is it necessary for you to be a member of a union?
No, it isn't.
That makes it 3 down and 7 to go, and hold the phone just a second while we have a small conference. That clears up something for me. Miss Francis, will you proceed? 3 down
You
and
work
7 to go.
indoors, Mr. Finningham?
Yes,
Are there many people around where you work?
sometimes.
I think we could safely assume that all things being equal, Mr. Finningham's employers and Mr. Finningham himself would be much happier if we were to accept that there were
When business
people
is
around.
good.
Yeah.
Do you, in your job, do you work in a building, the entire building being taken over by this one enterprise?
Yes,
Is the building something like a hotel?
yes.
Do you work for the hotel? And you're not in the union, huh?
No.
Oh, we can make trouble for you on the block.
We have about 2 minutes to go. And what was your last question?
Well, I'm curious about whether his job was something like a hotel manager or a desk clerk or that sort
Well, now,
of
you
job.
picked them off. Do you want to ask these? You want to have a conference?
Yes, may we have a conference?
You may
What,
have 30 seconds for a conference.
think
You have
the,
about 2 minutes.
I think the no union might be a clue. He might be what they call a security policeman, but better known as a house dick. I don't think they have to belong to a union, but maybe not, too.
How
but
do you
anyway,
know about these things, Dorothy?
I don't know.
Because in her house she has a dick, you see, her husband, and that gave her the whole idea.
Oh, this is...
All right. Well, I'll stay with what I started. Then, are you a hotel manager?
No.
That's
Now,
4
you
down
can
and
take
6
it,
to go,
Dorothy.
Mr. Preston.
Are we making too large an assumption, Mr. Finningham, to assume that this is a hotel?
No, it is.
No, you were not making too large an assumption. 5 down and 5 to go, Miss Kilgallen.
All right, then you do work in a hotel.
Yes,
Do you move about? You're not chained down.
yes.
Well, you know what I mean. To the ledger. Do you ever speak to occupants of the rooms?
Oh, yes.
Would you have access to the rooms?
The rooms.
Yes, reasonable.
Yes,
Would you walk up and down the lobby?
yes,
Would you ever walk up and down the corridors?
yes.
If somebody's door were unlocked at night, would you tell them about it?
If he was aware of it, I'm sure that he would, wouldn't you, Mr. Kilgallen?
Well, are you something other than a waiter?
Yes, you're
Yes.
something other than a waiter.
Yes.
Do you wear the sort of clothes you wear now?
No.
That makes it 6 down and 4 to go, about 15 seconds, Mr.
Well, then
Cerf.
you're not a house detective, is that correct?
No.
Yes, Mr. Finningham is not a house detective, no.
Are you have something to do with the elevators?
No.
No, he doesn't have something to do with the elevators, and we've run out of time. I think you'd have gotten it. I want you to meet Mr. Finningham, who is a bellhop and one of the most famous in the country. He's been a bellboy at the Edgewater Beach for Long, long time, huh?
That's right.
And he has been named by Sigma Iota fraternity
Bellboy of the Year.
the #1 bellboy of the year. That's right. Thank you very much. You know, considering all the years we have been on television, we're in our 8th year now, there still is a kick in announcing that we have a new station. So, with your permission, I would welcome to our Sunday night viewing audience the folks and the station WHCT in Hartford, Connecticut. It's nice to have you with us, and until next week, this is John Daly saying good night, Miss Arlene Francis.
Good night, Mr. Daly. Good night, and remember me to your beautiful wife.
Well, good night,
Lovely to
Arlene.
have had you, Bob.
It's a pleasure to have been aboard, and good night, Dorothy.
Good night, Bob. Come again. Good night, Bennett.
You neglected to mention, John, that Mr. Finnegan is starring in The Bellboys Are Ringing. Good night.
Good night, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for being with us on What's My Line?
Travel arrangements on What's My Line are made through American Airlines. American Airlines flies our contestants in luxurious comfort aboard DC-7 flagships. This has been a Mark Goodson, Bill Todman production in association with the CBS Television Network.